For me, what creator or innovator mindset defines is really somebody who is looking to solve difficult problems, and is not just ideating them but actually executing on them, right? And I think um, that pretty much defines what what it means to me. And I think you see a lot of that in R&D, you see a lot of that in entrepreneurship, and so and even in design for that matter. So you see a lot of creators in that space. So to me, anyone solving a real world problem in a new way, and actually executing it in the real world, is a creator or an innovator. Our company operates in the marine space, right? And the marine industry is an industry that hasn't changed very much in the last 100 years. So a lot of the rules and regulations have been the same. The boats and ships have been the same. The way they operate has been the same. And there's a huge opportunity to disrupt the sector. Now, what we do is we make these unmanned boats and ships that take people out of dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs. And how I think that's going to change the sector is, in the future, I don't believe people are they're going to have that many crews on a boat, right? So you're going to basically have fleets of boats and ships that are driven out of a central command center. And this fundamentally changes the operational expense of running any kind of ship, whether that's in cargo, whether that's in marine services, or something like cleaning garbage, which is also something that we do, right? And so I see the way the entire operational model of the marine sector changing with the kind of technology that we, and to be honest, our competitors are also bringing in, right? So if we get this right, I think we create a different world space where there are fewer people in these dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs in the water, but we're actually able to do a lot more of that work with way less risk, right? And I think that's going to shift the industry a lot. I honestly think my journey has been one of many failures. So I started one company before this, but I worked on like 3 different ideas, and I had one company fail because we were trying to sell restaurant, like these sort of LED boards to restaurants, and the LED boards would change their ads based on what kind of person was sitting in front of that board. And this failed because restaurants really don't want to pay for that. Like, it's not a problem that we were solving for them. And so the basic premise of the business was not well researched. The user wasn't defined well. And then I had a second business where we were trying to build a job portal for daily wage workers in India. And we actually signed up 4,000 workers onto our platform. We ended up in a very big international competition. We had investors that were ready to invest. And 2 of my co-founders got jobs at JP Morgan and decided to leave. So in that case, it was a co-founder fit problem, right? And then my last company before Clearbot, we ran for about 9 months in Myanmar, in Burma. And we actually raised money for that. We were on the ground. We had about 200 shops that were using our app, and we were using this app to credit score them so that they could get loans, right? Small businesses. So business was growing, things were looking good, and Myanmar basically then had a military coup. The government fell, and the economic outlook for the country which was the very premise of us getting in the first place, was broken, right? And it was unsafe and so on. And so we sort of got out of the country, and then had to shut that business because of some completely external factor, right? It wasn't, every other. So in that sense, I think over my experiences, I've learned that there are many different reasons things won't work out, right? And really, as a startup, what you do, and as an entrepreneur, what you do is you continuously de-risk your business, right? And in that process, you end up actually not only building stability, but you end up building growth. And that's kind of been a big learning for me through my failures. So I would say to my 14-year-old self, learn how to sell quickly, because you're going to need it. It's a skill that you're going to need the rest of your life. And don't be too worried what your parents think. The idea for Clearbot originated out of a kind of a free holiday we were trying to get from our university. So the story is, our university had a fund, and they paid for you to organize projects abroad. And we decided we wanted to go for a graduation trip to Bali. So we really needed money. And so we came up with this idea of, we're going to clean the water, right? But basically, when we went down to Bali, we realized this is like a legitimately big problem. And people struggle with it. So what we realized is you can't use motorboats to clean these water bodies, because the trash gets stuck in the propellers. And if the beaches aren't clean, tourists don't come. So it affects the local economy. So real money, real effort was being spent to clean it. And we realized there's a gap where you needed a better tool, right? So there's a real problem to solve. And of course, the environmental impact of doing something like cleaning garbage out of the water, cleaning plastic out of the water is huge, right? So it started off with, very frankly, a very good story, I would say, right? Like we were just having fun, and we realized, okay, we stumbled onto a big problem. We built something that potentially could solve it. And the second big breakthrough we had was when we realized that this is financially feasible, right? So we found out the amount of money being spent on this stuff is crazy. Like the amount of money you take to hire a boat, spend on petrol, spend on a couple of people to just go around for a few hours and do this work is really expensive, right? And so there's a massive sort of monetary value that we add by using our machine, because we cut costs by like 60-70%. We're able to make a huge margin in that space, and yet we're able to deliver a lot of value to our clients. So I think the balance between, we're really changing things environmentally, we're really making a great global impact. This is a problem in every city in the world. This is not like a local issue. This is anywhere in the world. You drop me in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's a problem, right? So it's a global problem. It has massive economic value. It has massive environmental value, and we have the capability to solve it. And for me personally, I grew up a lot on machines. I've always been fascinated with robots. So actually, when I was in school in India, I have a Limca record for like the smallest walking robot in the country. So I've always been fascinated with like machines, and I believe that humans shouldn't be in dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs, right? For us to reach the next stage of our evolution, robots should do all this dirty work, and we do all the smart thinking stuff. Right? And so I think this company aligned, both for me and my co-founder, a lot of our personal vision, our personal interests, in a way that was very feasible in terms of financially feasible. It was there was a good growth story. I'd say like just start somewhere. Even if you don't like the idea, even if it probably isn't going to work out, it's fine. I mean, probably isn't going to work out. So try anyway. Take the risk when you're young, because you have no responsibilities. You have way less responsibilities than you think you do anyway. And so even if things don't work out, you'll be all right. Give it a couple of shots and you'll get it right. So getting started is the hardest part.